Good morning, I'm Maddie Jansen, and this is the podcast of 17 News at Sunrise. It's everything you need to know to start your day in about 15 minutes.
In the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning. Hundreds packed St. Francis Church in support of Bakersfield's beloved priest, Monsignor Craig Harrison, as he faces allegations of past sexual misconduct. What his parishioners had to say and what happened when protesters gathered outside.
Where Attorney General William Barr is supposed to sit, instead will be an empty chair today. Why he's skipping the hearing on Capitol Hill and what one congressman is threatening to do about it.
In a world of social media and what some may call impossible standards, local high school girls are being reminded to slow down and recognize their worth. We'll tell you about the conference all about adoration. This is Thursday, May 2nd, 2019. Good morning. Great to have you with us. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher and Kevin Schrett. What a gorgeous day yesterday.
It was gorgeous.
Yeah, it was great for Unleash Your Love and had great adoptions, great monetary donations. I think overall it was a great success. I'm sure we'll talk more about that throughout the morning, but the weather was great for it. And we're going to be looking good today, just a little bit warmer. We're, again, bringing those temperatures up day by day. Mid-50s to start, and then by 3 o'clock we'll be right near 83 for the mountains. Starting out in the 40s right now, you're at 45 in Tehachapi. You have a light westerly wind at 3, and as we take a look at the day, starting out by 7 a.m. into the lower 40s, and then throughout the day we'll be right near 70 by 3, a westerly wind at 13.
A big hearing set to continue on Capitol Hill today with an empty chair in place of Attorney General William Barr. He's refusing to testify over an objection to Democrats' plans to have committee staffers question him. This comes amidst fallout from a contentious Senate testimony hearing yesterday where Barr sparred with Democrats over his handling of the Mueller report. Committee Chairman Jerry Nadler is threatening to issue a contempt citation against Barr if the Justice Department continues to ignore a subpoena to produce an unredacted Mueller report.
Today marks the 67th annual National Day of Prayer. It is held on the first Thursday of May, inviting people of all faiths to pray for our nation. Last night, the President and First Lady hosted the National Day of Prayer dinner at the White House. More than 100 leaders from the interfaith community were there. President Trump spoke about the recent religious hate and violence, mourning for those of all faiths targeted because of their religion.
In recent weeks, people of faith around the world have faced terrible hardship. Violence and terrorism against people of all faiths must end, and it must end now.
Later this morning, the President and First Lady will also participate in a National Day of Prayer service. Here at home, people will gather at the Liberty Bell in downtown Bakersfield at noon today for an event that's been a community tradition for 33 years. The Bakersfield Fire Department will be there, too, to hang its giant American flag.
It was a big show of support for Monsignor Craig Harrison. He faces 2 sexual misconduct allegations dating back decades. Parishioners rallied around the much-loved priest at a prayer vigil last night, but they weren't the only ones rallying. 17's Amber Frias explains.
Hundreds of people packed St. Francis Church Wednesday evening to show their support for the church's leader, Monsignor Craig Harrison. He was placed on paid leave last week after the Fresno Diocese received allegations of sexual misconduct from when Harrison served at a church in Fireball back in the 90s. News of the allegations stunned this community. That same day, the diocese received a second report of alleged sexual abuse from another man, this one in Merced, dating back to the late 1980s. Since the allegations went public, much of the community has rallied in support of Harrison. Wednesday, St. Francis held a prayer vigil for Harrison, where he has served for over 20 years.
Well, we're just here to support Monsignor Craig and the Catholic Church and the community.
You know, we got his back.
But not everyone feels the same way.
Where's the voice for the victims?
A group of protesters was waiting outside the church when the vigil ended.
I'm here as a voice for all the people that are afraid to speak up, haven't spoken up, or are about to speak up.
Inez Stribling says for her this is personal because she's a survivor of abuse.
It's very painful. It's a wound that never completely heals. So to have people say the first thing out of their ignorant mouths is, why didn't you say something sooner? Why didn't these victims say something sooner? It's very hard to have the nerve to ask someone something like that. You don't know the people's story. You don't know how hard it is for them to speak up. So, you know, everybody speaks up at their own time, their own pace.
At one point, things got heated when protesters clashed with supporters.
It's not right
for them to come here to a church and yell at people without even knowing what was going on in the church. Never did anybody say, we don't believe anybody, Monsignor Craig is right. Nobody ever said that. We are here for the truth to prevail. That is it.
Amber Frias, 17 News.
An abuse survivors organization called for the vigil last night to be canceled in light of the allegations against Monsignor Harrison. 17's Kara Waugh spoke with a Bakersfield native who's now a leader with SNAP, the survivors network of those abused by priests. Esther Miller grew up in Bakersfield and went to St. Francis School. Her family moved to the San Fernando Valley when she was 15. That's when she says a deacon at her parish sexually abused her every day for a year before he was transferred to another church. In 2003, Miller sued the Los Angeles Archdiocese for what happened to her decades earlier and became a pioneer for victims speaking out about their own abuse by priests.
I was silent 27 years. So the average age we now know is about 52 before somebody discloses. And I was so scared. I'll never forget. I kept thinking, I'm going to go to hell. I'm suing God.
If you're a survivor looking for support, you can find the SNAP Network at snapnetwork.org. Bakersfield police officers will be on the lookout for people driving under the influence this weekend. BPD holding a DUI checkpoint Saturday night. It will start at 6 o'clock and run through 2 a.m. Sunday. BPD wants to remind people DUI doesn't just mean alcohol. It's any substance that can impair your driving. As we've reported, even though BPD does not announce where the checkpoints will be, the department still announces them ahead of time because studies show the notices can deter people from driving under the influence.
Ever wonder what the inside of a sheriff's office looks like? Well, now's your chance to find out. The Kern County Sheriff's Office is offering a behind-the-scenes look at the department. It's happening from 6 to 7:30 tonight at the KCSO headquarters on Norris Road. The tour includes the SWAT team, bomb squad, K-9 unit, training simulators, and a lot more. KCSO says there are still spots available, and if you want to sign up for the tour, call the Crime Prevention Unit at 391-7559. Kind of neat to see that they're opening up their doors to let people walk through.
I know a lot of kids would love to check that out.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
17's Tabitha Mills joining us with more on the Adoration Conference and its goal to encourage, empower, and equip young women to walk forward in confidence.
That's right. Good morning, Maddie and Alex. In a fast-moving world of social media, comparison, and expectations, the Adoration Conference helps girls in our community see what they're capable of and that everything they need is already inside of them.
The goal of the Adoration Conference is to bring together a bunch of junior and senior high school girls from in and around Kern County to remind them that they are deeply valued and respected and loved. The definition of adoration is deep love and respect. So I want the girls to come to the event and leave not only deeply loving and respecting themselves, but all the women that they were there with.
These pictures from the 2018 Adoration Conference. Its purpose, powerful, to break down social barriers and unite young women in our community. It's a place of inspiration, motivation, acceptance, and love.
It is extremely important. As women, we need to understand that we are worthy and we are wonderful, and every single adjective that you could think of belongs to women and belongs to everybody. But as girls, we have to understand that, and going through high school is so hard, and she puts this conference on to just have a day where we can understand and realize that it's all going to be okay, and that we can talk about whatever we want to talk about, and we can cry about whatever we want to cry about, and that's okay, and we can all figure it out together.
The main culprit for young women in today's world, social media.
I think social media has had a huge impact on this generation. We hear about bullying, but it goes so much deeper than just like verbal. It's mental because of social media. It gets in our heads. Girls go home and they second guess everything that they say, they do, who they are. And so I want to bring people together in the community to remind them who they are and that they don't need to change who they are, and they're exactly who they're made to be moving forward in their future.
Thanks to Mackenzie Holler, hundreds of young women in our community are beginning to realize just that.
She's just a special person. There's no other way to describe it. As soon as she walks into the room, she lights it up, and I think that she has a gift for showing other people that they're loved and for loving on other people and making sure that they feel important. There's no way to really describe the way that she makes you feel. It's an automatic switch that gets flipped, that as soon as you're around her, you feel loved, you feel important, you feel worthy, you feel as though there's value to you.
And Mackenzie says her faith and family motivate her to put the Adoration Conference on. This is the third year that she'll be holding the conference here in our community. It is Sunday and is sold out, but Mackenzie is releasing a limited number of tickets today only. And if you'd like more information on that, you can go to KGET.com.
Very cool. Opportunity.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, Tabs.
Thank you.
The hottest new book flying off store shelves isn't a book at all. It's Robert Mueller's report on Russia's 2016 election interference. A redacted version of the report debuted at #1 on the New York Times nonfiction bestsellers list. That version was produced by the Washington Post and Scribner, with analysis by Post reporters and editors. But if you want to read the report, you don't even have to spend a penny. It's available free online. You can find the entire report on our website, KGET.com. Attention coffee lovers, Starbucks is recalling one of its coffee presses because it poses a laceration hazard. The French press has a glass beaker, dark gray frame, and light gray handle and knob. 230,000 were sold in the U.S. since 2016 for about $20. Consumers should immediately stop using the recalled coffee press and contact Starbucks for instructions on how to return the coffee press to receive a full refund in the form of a store credit. But returns will not be accepted in stores.
Thanks for listening to the podcast of 17 News at Sunrise. It's a 15-minute summary of everything you need to know about Kern County. There's a new episode every weekday.